Hey everyone. I can't believe March is already gone. Oh wait, no, April's already gone. This is what I'm going to be reading in the month of May, here in the middle of nowhere. So, last month I had the readathons going on, so I read quite a bit. But what you might not know is that I am also doing some judging for the SPSFC competition, and that's entering into its final phase. So I don't know which books are fully moving on yet as of the recording of this video. And so I'm not 100% certain on this TBR slash MBR, whatever you want to call it. But these are some books that I'm planning on reading for this month. I can't guarantee that I will get to all of them because those books will have to take the priority so that I can get the scores out. That being said, I know there are a few of these that I am 100% going to read. And I do have to apologize to some of those authors whose ARCs or review copies I have received. I am planning on reading them, just that the competition has taken over some of my reading time where I would read the books that I want to read, and instead I am reading these books, which they're not bad books at all. I'm enjoying the majority of those books that I have been tasked with reading. But I do need to realize that I need to leave that space open so that I can read the correct books when it's my time. That should be wrapping up by the month of June, which means May I'll be reading hopefully not as many books, but I will have to read all of the finalists because it's going into its final stage. I will probably do a video about what the finalists are, and at the end I will also do a wrap up of all the books that I read SPSFC, so that you guys can know which books I read and which ones I enjoyed. That being said, we are going to jump into what I'll be reading this month and what my plans are with them. So the first book that we're going to start with the digital copies. I didn't quite get to combat codes in the month of May I didn't get to combat codes in the month of April because I realized that I had another review copy that expired from NetGalley before that one did. So I jumped onto that one. As of this time of the recording, I have started combat codes, and it will probably carry over. Well, I know it will carry over into the month of May unless I get some magical reading done in the last 3 days. Combat Codes has bumped over into May. I am also going to be reading in a digital format The Forbidden Realms, which is book number 2 of Fallen Light by the one and only H.C. Newell. I don't know if you've ever heard of these. She has some beautiful looking covers. It's kind of Norse, elves, all sorts of chaos going on. It's quite the ride. I hear it's really slow paced though. It's really not. It's extremely fast paced. At least book 1 was. And I'm looking forward to more adventures with this group and finding out where the characters that we met in book 1, where they end up going in book 2. And I know it's going to be a fast ride, and I'll probably read this one really quick because you're just seriously taken from one eventful moment to the next through this series, and it's a lot of fun. I know that she's currently writing book 3, and so I'm reading book 2 so that I am ready for book 3 and continue this whole series that she has planned. The other digital one that I'm going to be reading will be my monthly buddy read with my group of friends, and that is going to be Engines of Empire by R.S. Ford. I believe that's the title of it. That one was the one that was voted on. I know it's a steampunk style adventure, fantasy. I don't know a whole lot about it. It's on my TBR, I know that. Something caught my interest. I can't remember what it was. And I know there's been a couple people that have read it. So I'll be interested to see what I think of that one as I jump into it. And that'll be read in the first part of the month as well as I slot. So that one will be wrapped up by the 15th of May. I will also be continuing a couple other books. I have just a few with me this time. As I said, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter list that I'm going to give you guys. I don't know which books are going to advance, and I look forward to seeing what comes out of SPSFC. But I know I am also bumping this one from the previous month, which is Those Once Forgotten, which is book 2. I didn't quite get to it in April. I really got into the mood for thrillers, and so really focused on some of those. But I am going to be reading this one also towards the beginning part of the month, as I really want to know what happens in this trilogy. And so highly look forward to this. I want to know what the way stations are, what they're doing, and continue that amazing story. I do know that they're working on the audio for book 2, so those of you that love audio, the first one is fantastic in audio. The gentleman does a really great job with the voices, makes it even sound like he's talking out of a helmet when the character's wearing helmets, and it's really cool. So if you like audio, highly recommend that book. I'm going to set that down right in the front. Hopefully I don't make too big of a noise. I'm also going to be reading another thriller. I know this has recently been made into a movie on Netflix, and I was watching it and I fell asleep. Not because the movie was bad, I was really tired apparently that day, and I haven't made my way back to it. But I know I really enjoyed the story, so I'm going to be reading The Gray Man. And I will probably rewatch the movie, just as I did with The Terminal List last month, kind of comparing and contrasting the two, see which one I enjoy more. Hopefully I enjoy this one a lot more than I did The Terminal List. I don't know that I'll make a video about it yet. Let me know if you guys want to. Put it down in the comments before. Do you want to hear my thoughts on comparing the movie or the show with the books that I'm reading, or not? I'd love to hear what you guys think of those as well. But I know the Gray Man is kind of an assassin for hire type thing, and then he gets hunted by his own and to be brought down. And should have lots of action. I love the assassin, especially in a present day setting, and I'm looking for a really good thriller in this one. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Garden Gnome by Jeff McIntyre. He was very gracious to give me a review copy of this book. He also paid for it on the Indie Accords Discord that is my selection. It was supposed to be for the month of April, so this will be probably the first book I read in the month of May, just for you, Jeff. But I was interested in reading this book before he even purchased it and said, hey, I want you to read my book. It sounds really cool. I know it's more like an urban fantasy, plus who doesn't like a good gnome? Gnomes are kind of an interesting character, so I look forward to seeing what is done with them as they look for the magic, I believe. It looks like there's a lot of characters as they try to find the different, their place in this and find the magic of the world. So looking forward to it. If any of you are interested in reading it, let's do a buddy read. Hit me up. I'll read Jeff's book, and let's find out what we can about this mystical creature right there, that little garden gnome. You can see his little red hat. Final book that I'm going to read, I may continue through this whole series, but I recently discovered how much I really love the Red Rising trilogy. So I read books 1 and 2 in the month of April, and I will now be continuing in the month of May with book 3, which is Morningstar. Fantastic series. I'm going to do a longer video review of why I waited so long and why I shouldn't have, and what has really captivated me with this whole trilogy and the ideas that are coming behind it. The idea is that I want to be caught up in time to read the 6th book. I think it's set in 2 different trilogies, so this will wrap up the first trilogy, and then I'll probably jump straight into the second so that I can just have all of them read this year. That's how much I've really enjoyed it. In fact, if you didn't know, I read Red Rising twice. I read it in the physical format. I also did the audio format as more of an immersion read, just so I could get every detail going on with those. It's fantastic. Once again, I will be doing a more dedicated video review next month, talking about my enjoyment, probably when I wrap up Morningstar, where we'll discuss the whole Red Rising trilogy and go from there. But those are the books that I'm planning on reading for the month of May. Once again, SBSFC will be announced shortly in the next few days, hopefully. So I will be doing another video where I talk about my thoughts as I look at the covers, and see what I'll be reading for the finale of that competition. That should go into the month of June, and really excited to see what the finals are. But once again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you're reading for the month of May. Any of these that caught your eye as well? Be interested to hear your thoughts. Please comment, like, subscribe, do the YouTube things, so that we can continue to have fun and discuss about some great books. But until the next time, happy reading and stay great.